So to start with the introduction of myself, kind of starting at TAMs. So yeah, my name is Dylan. Um, let's see. Wait, I wrote some stuff down for my intro, so I don't forget. Yeah. So okay, so I went to TAMs. So I graduated from TAMs in 2017. So during my time at TAMs, yeah, I guess I was pretty involved in like hackathons. We go to a lot of hackathons like on the weekends. I was also in CSO. Was like I guess the hackathon director there. So was responsible for like helping coordinate people to come to hackathons from TAMS, and also like organize like a few like small hackathons within TAMS within Macalinao. Yeah, what else did I do there? I was all in some research. So like somewhere between like junior and senior year, I did research at MIT doing some like neuroscience type stuff. And then when I was at UNT, also did some research with Dr. Fuchs, if anyone knows who that is, doing neuroscience stuff as well. Yeah, and so I guess back then, like I was like pretty like I was pretty sure I wanted to work in tech in some capacity, like doing hackathons and stuff, but wasn't like really sure exactly what I wanted to do. I guess like before then, like in hackathons and stuff, I was mostly doing a lot of like design and front end type stuff. Like I always just gravitated towards like UX design. Yeah, just like playing around, like working, like trying to guess like figure out like what the app should like look like and what it should do. But still was like very unsure of what I wanted to do. So in terms of like school, when I left TAMS, I ended up going to UT Austin, and the major I chose there was something called Plan 2, which was like a pretty, I guess like very general type major. Like usually people who do Plan 2 do that because it's like I guess like you take a bunch of like, classes, like a bunch of across a bunch of different like disciplines, and then usually people like double major in something else that's like more applicable to like a job or something. But I chose to just do Plan 2 because like I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so that was 2017, and yeah, during that time, that's when like a lot of the Ethereum-based crypto stuff started getting really big. So like there's like the ICO boom, and basically people building these like new things on top of Ethereum. So yeah, not to go too deep into I guess crypto stuff, but like basically before the like Bitcoin, right, which is the first cryptocurrency, and then from there Ethereum basically made it so that there's kind of this like platform where you can like build other applications on top of through something called smart contracts. But yeah, I won't get too much in detail about that. But yeah, I got super into like, crypto at that time. There were also like a lot of meetups during that time in Austin. So like when I wasn't going to class and stuff, I would just like go to like a bunch of meetups downtown Austin. At this place called Capital Factory, which like if any of you guys end up going to UT Austin, definitely recommend like spending some time in because it's a cool place. Like just like a lot of like meetups and like people working on like cool startups and stuff in tech. And yeah, so I guess at the end of that, so at the end of my freshman year at UT Austin, I did an internship at this company called AmerisourceBergen, very like large company. I think they're like number 11 on like the Fortune 500. But yeah, I mean it's pretty like boring company as well. So what they do is they do like distribution for pharmaceuticals. So for example, like companies like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, they manufacture the pharmaceuticals. And then AmerisourceBergen is kind of responsible for distributing those to like pharmacies or doctors' offices. Like they're basically the ones who like, control the supply chain. So I worked there for a bit, and yeah, it was like pretty boring. I guess I was doing like I don't know, just like very general intern type stuff, which I didn't find very fun. And then at that time too, like I was still like decently involved in crypto and everything. And so after that, I kind of decided to like leave school for a bit and work on a crypto startup actually. So I ended up moving to San Francisco, working on a startup called Abacus, which we ended up raising money from like Y Combinator, Coinbase, and a few other people. And yeah, basically we were building a lot of different things. So like as a lot of like startups, early startups go, like we pivoted a lot. But I think the main thing we were working on was kind of around like crypto regulation. So around that time, like I was talking like ICOs and stuff, where basically people were creating these like offerings for tokens. Like they were just like creating some like random token and like raising like millions of dollars for these. Basically, at that time, the SEC, which stands for Securities Exchange Commission, they're kind of like the governing body of the U.S. who makes sure like they basically they govern securities, so like stocks and stuff like that, the stock market, yeah, basically any kind of security. They're kind of cracking down on like these crypto things and saying like, wait, these people are like scammers and this thing's like completely unregulated. So like with the startup I was working on at the time, we were trying to like do some compliance stuff within crypto, which was pretty interesting. Yeah, during that time as well, I like helped basically start a lot of like the early, I guess like it's called DeFi, was actually a name that I helped come up with, decentralized finance. Basically building this ecosystem of like projects that in a lot of ways kind of actually like weren't directly touching regulations, and kind of like building these like really new like financial products that are only possible because like they were built on the blockchain. Yeah, it's something I'm still very active in today, but basically like, decided to leave that after a bit of time. Let's see, what did I do? Oh, after that, I felt like, kind of want to go back to school maybe. And so I actually ended up transferring from UT Austin to UPenn. And then I spent like a few months there and then got really bored of school. And so I decided to go work again. And at that time I moved to become a product manager at this company called OKCoin. So OKCoin is a pretty global crypto exchange. They have like two exchanges actually. OKCoin, which is like kind of similar to Coinbase, where it's like very like heavily regulated. Like people can you can link your bank accounts to the exchange and then buy crypto. And then then they also have this exchange called OKEX, which is like the more unregulated one. And if you guys have heard of like Binance, like that's like pretty similar to that, where you can like take on massive amounts of leverage. You can trade like other kinds of products like futures or options related to crypto, things like that. So that's pretty fun. Like basically there I was like focused on building a lot of the building out the trading infrastructure and trading user experience, as well as the experience for just like managing crypto assets on the platform. Yeah, and then basically what happened was, so I was there for a few months, and then I was like kind of feeling bad about being like a product manager, and especially in this like company too, where it was like 1,000 people across the whole what do you call it, the whole world. So most of the team was based in China, but the teams I was working on were mostly based in San Francisco. Yeah, it just was kind of got boring, because especially when you come from like where I was before. So working on like a really small startup, I was doing like all of the product related work and all the design related work, and even stuff into engineering, sometimes just like help contribute a little bit. Yeah, that's like a lot more fun than, in my opinion, than when you work in a company where you're kind of doing like one like very specified thing, working on like one segment of the product. Yeah, and then also too, like companies like that, like basically when you grow your company too much, it also is just like very slow. So there's a lot of like waiting on people, waiting on things to get done. It just was like really boring for me. So I ended up leaving that, and that was, when was that? I think maybe like 8 months ago. And then from there went to work at this company called Pipe, this startup. And yeah, that's been like a really good experience. So like when I joined the company, I think I was like I don't know, maybe like seventh employee, I think. And so like I was the only designer on the team. And yeah, I also like helped lead a lot of the product stuff as well there. And yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, I think like that's like, I guess you kind of hear about like the like rocket ship type startup. Like that's definitely been it. Like we've grown a lot since I've been there, and still continue to grow at a really fast pace. And so a bit about what Pipe does. So it's not a crypto company actually, but it's still in fintech. And essentially what we're doing is we're creating a new asset class revolving around the recurring revenue or predictable revenue from companies. So basically what I mean by that is like, for example, right now when you buy stocks, right? Stocks are based off of equity of a company. But yeah, not to, I don't, I guess, yeah, like I could get really deep into like this kind of stuff, but essentially what we're doing is instead of like, trading this asset, representing the company off equity, we're trading the asset representing off their revenue actually, which is like a more direct, what do you call it? A more direct instrument. And yeah, so yeah, kind of, I guess like similar to like maybe like corporate bonds or something like that. But in a very different way. And also we're backed by technology too. So like everything's really fast. Basically what happens is a company can come to our platform, they link a bunch of like their different software, like data. So like for example, their accounting software like QuickBooks or something, or like Stripe data, like other financial data, basically put into our platform, and then like very quickly they get like a decision of like, okay, this is how much investors are willing to like buy your revenue for. And so the reason why someone would do that is kind of similar to like if you ever paid for a software subscription and you get like a choice between like paying monthly or paying annually with a discount. It's kind of the same thing where basically, right, a company might want to get all the capital up front. That way they can like do stuff with, like maybe spend that towards hiring someone or spend that towards like marketing, something like that. And so essentially companies can like sell their future revenue to investors, get upfront capital with a discount, and then yeah, basically do whatever they want with that. So yeah, happy to explain more about that if people are interested. But yeah, so I'm there right now. Yeah, pretty fun stuff. We're growing a lot, both in terms of like raising a lot of money, revenue, team as well. So yeah, it's been like a really fun experience to kind of like be on that early rocket ship. And yeah, and apart from that, I also still do a lot of stuff in crypto. So I do spend a lot of time like trading. And then the other thing I do is I work on a lot of like crypto side projects. So yeah, some examples like right now I'm working on this like NFC platform. So yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard about NFTs because they've gone kind of like mainstream lately. But yeah, working with a lot of like really cool like people like Grammy winning artists, like professional sports teams, a lot of these cool people to basically like create this like new kind of NFC platform that's a little bit different than the ones that kind of currently exist. So that's been pretty fun. Yeah, the thing I'm working on is like it's basically so representing assets on the blockchain that aren't currently on there. So for example, like stocks. So like there was, this like controversy around like GameStop, right? Or like Robinhood was like pausing people trading GameStop stock on their platform, which is like kind of annoying. And so basically creating like this like new system where you can like trade all these kind of assets, basically call them like synthetic assets on the blockchain. And yeah, that's also fun too. Yeah, I guess that's about it about me. Yeah, if you guys are interested in like kind of any area, I guess I've talked about. So yeah, maybe like product management, product design, finance, working at a startup, TAMs, anything. Happy to go more into that if anyone has anything specific, or I can just like, I don't know, keep rambling about something random.
I guess we can maybe talk about some of your TAMS experiences.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, TAMs. Okay, so like when I was there, we didn't actually have any track system. So yeah, basically everyone just like took bio and stuff like that. So like I took one CS class like an elective at TAMS, but that was about it. Yeah, and a lot of that too was because like I didn't know what I wanted to do back then. So like yeah, I was kind of like doing a lot of random stuff. What did I do at TAMS? I don't know. I feel like I just kind of like didn't go to classes and like I don't know, played like games with my friends, played League and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't do too much, I guess. I mean, I did like hackathon type stuff, which is fun. What else? Yeah, I guess that was mostly it. Hackathons and like doing some research. What got me into computer science? So I'd say like I was just interested in tech in general. It was mostly from hackathons. Like I went to my first hackathon and I thought it was like really cool how like you can build this like new system like really fast. So like compared to like other industries, like maybe like I don't know, like healthcare or something, or like I don't know, mechanical engineering. Like these kind of projects like take a really long time to build something that's actually useful, and that's something that you can easily distribute to people. Whereas like with tech, you can just like write some lines of code, right? And you have this like software that you can easily share like anyone in the world, and they can start using it and start start like basically create value from it like very very quickly. And so yeah, to me that's like a really cool thing. And especially if you like with the crypto, which is like even faster. Like right now with like pipe, we have to worry a lot about like financial regulations and things like that. Crypto, you don't really worry about that stuff, so you just like build really fast. And so yeah, I think it's cool basically that anyone can just like in their like room, right, just like write some code, and then yeah, now you have like this like fully fledged application that can generate like I don't know, billions of dollars of value. That's really exciting to me. Yeah, yeah, but I would say so in terms of like I'm actually more like into I guess like product design versus like I don't actually spend that much time writing code. Most of my time I spend like in Figma or making like product specs. Yeah, I'm definitely more interested in I guess like the sort of like product aspects of tech. So yeah, like I guess yeah, I don't know, maybe since there's no more questions, I can just like go through like what my normal day looks like. A lot of it is spent talking to customers and trying to like figure out what we need to build. And so for something like Pipe, that includes like both like external customers, like people who are using our platform, but also internally, because we also have a lot of internal tools to help our team just like make Pipe work. So I spend a lot of time talking to stakeholders to just like figure out what our problems are, figure out like what are the most like high value things that we can end up building. And then I'd say like 9% of my day is spent just in like Figma, making mockups. And yeah, just like trying to figure out what we should build next. Working with like the development team and other people too to just like ship out these products.
Can you maybe go a bit deeper into kind of what Pipe does and kind of how that works?
Yeah, sure.
Like with other companies.
For sure. Yeah. I think I gave a pretty bad explanation before. Basically what it is so, okay, so basically think about a company, right? So a company goes through a lot of fundraising, whether that's like through venture capital or through like, raising debt or something like that. Yeah, so like, companies need capital in order to create value, right? And so traditionally for startups, most people go the VC route. But the reason why that's bad is because every time you raise more VC money, your equity gets diluted, meaning that like when you exit your company, so meaning either someone acquires you or you SPAC or you get listed onto like the New York Stock Exchange, your shares will be worth a lot less money, or your value, your percentage of the company is worth a lot less money because you've been diluted by raising equity. And so with Pipe, what we're trying to do is actually offer a new instrument to companies. And whether that's like a SaaS company, so like someone who sells software, or even like we're even servicing like funds who have like operational fees for managing like a hedge fund or something. Yeah, basically these kind of companies, we're giving them a new way to raise capital, and it's through basically a non-dilutive form. So not like equity where it dilutes your cap table, something where essentially it's based off of like future revenue. So yeah, as a company, basically I log into Pipe, I put in all my financial information, and then basically at Pipe, we have like these like algorithms that basically rate your company to figure out like, okay, this is how much your revenue is worth. So for example, like say that, my customer right now is paying me $100 a month to use my service. I go to Pipe, and then basically some investor gives me an offer that like, okay, you're $100 a month, which would equal $1,200 a year. We'll give you like $1,000 upfront. So basically they're taking a discount on their future revenue, but now they're getting a lot more capital upfront, which then they can use to do things like hire people, basically things that they would have done if they were to like raise venture money. So yeah, that's I guess the kind of basic idea of Pipe. And then there's a lot of other stuff on top of that, in terms of like both like how do we grow the amount of companies that are using our platform, and then also like offering other financial instruments that are useful for companies. Yeah. Tips for current and incoming TAM students. So I guess in general, I would say like definitely spend a lot of like. It depends, I guess, your personal goals. But if you're trying to, like be someone who like, you really want to work at startups and stuff, and like, you really want to like do a lot of like things, I guess, that are more like non-traditional. I would say like it's a good idea to spend a lot of time like outside of classes, or specifically for like for software engineering, or like product design, those kind of things. I would say spend a lot of time like outside of classes, also like programming, or like basically like training these like hard skills. Because I think like what you learn in classes, it's useful in like the fundamental level, right? Because like all these things kind of applies no matter like what language you're coding in, or like I don't know, like what you're doing. Like it's still at the same like it's still logic at the end of the day. But yeah, like software moves very fast, so I would say like spend a lot of time outside of class as well, like programming and just like learning things, like building side projects. And then apart from that though, I'd also say like when you're at TAMS, right? Like I think I definitely was in the mindset where it's like I guess like very competitive, right? Like oh, like, I really want to get into this like really good school or something, which is fair. Like I think that's a good goal to have as well. But I would say also like don't get too stressed, because at the end of the day, like a lot of that stuff maybe doesn't matter as much as you feel like it does like while you're in high school. Or at least that's how it was for me.
Well, you also mentioned NFTs. It's kind of big right now. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about that side project that you're doing?
For sure. Yeah, so essentially right now, a lot of the NFTs are being created are on Ethereum. And so if any of you guys have used Ethereum, it's a blockchain that has very high transaction fees. So in order to like buy an NFT or list an NFT, you have to pay like a lot of money to do it, a lot of ether to do it. Yeah, and right now like ETH costs a lot of money too, and like a lot of people are using Ethereum, so it's actually a very high number right now. And so, sorry, what was I saying? yeah, anyway, so yeah, so that's one thing. And also Ethereum is also like very slow. So like I said, because like there's a lot of people using Ethereum, and uh yeah, this is getting, I guess, very deep, but like the way that transactions happen on Ethereum, how they're reconciled, is very similar to Bitcoin, where it's something called proof of stake, or sorry, proof of work, which is like basically people mining. Like, people have like mining rigs where they're trying to like compute the next block. So that's what makes it expensive, and that's what makes it slow. So like there's other blockchains out there that have become like pretty popular. So the one that I'm mostly working on is called Solana. But anyways, yeah. So right now there's like no NFTs outside of Ethereum, and then this other blockchain called Flow, which is the one that like NBA Top Shot and all this stuff are on. And so I basically want to bring NFTs to this other blockchain, and it doesn't have those problems that I mentioned with Ethereum. Like transactions happen like really quickly, and also transactions are very cheap on this blockchain because they use a different mechanism for how transactions are reconciled. And so that's pretty cool. So that's I guess that on like a technical level, but in terms of just like NFTs in general, I think it's pretty exciting. Like having been in crypto for a while, like this is definitely one of those things where it's like getting a lot of like non-crypto people, like very like mainstream audiences into crypto. So yeah, like I said earlier, like there's like these like people, like big musicians or like I don't know, pro sports teams where yeah, it's like wow, I never would have thought these people would get into crypto, but like now like they're messaging me about how to get on it. And so that's like really exciting to see. Yeah, in terms of like NFTs in general, like right now you're kind of just buying like I don't know, like a picture, right? You're buying like a JPEG file, which I think is like kind of dumb. I think there's a lot of other like things you can do that are only possible because of blockchain. Like for example, like if I buy this like NFT for I don't know, the Miami Heat, right? Then maybe I also get like discounted tickets to the Miami Heat, or like I get like access to like a meet and greet once a year to meet with like Jimmy Butler or something. So yeah, I think those are like really cool applications of NFTs that kind of like aren't being explored a lot yet. And honestly, a lot of it is because of Ethereum being just like a very inefficient blockchain. So yeah, a lot of I guess what I'm doing with my side project is trying to like figure out some of these like more meaningful use cases. And yeah, I guess yeah, there's a lot of other stuff involved with that too. But that's about it. Do I deal with Bitcoin? I actually sold all my Bitcoin for other tokens because I think yeah, I think Bitcoin will always go. So like if you want to get into crypto, I'd say like buy Bitcoin because it's very safe. Like I think like if crypto goes up, which I'm very bullish on, then Bitcoin will definitely go up, and other tokens are a lot more risky. But I think a lot of other tokens have like a lot higher ROI, a lot higher, a lot more potential to go up, which is why I've actually converted into other tokens. But yeah, Bitcoin's the OG, so still good. Are there any fun unofficial TAMs traditions that you had? Unofficial TAMs traditions. I don't know. I don't know. That was a long time ago. I don't really remember that much. Yeah, I'll think about it. Okay. What do you enjoy about working at a startup? I think if you want to like grow really fast, both in terms of like, I want to learn a lot, but also in terms of just like you want to grow your net worth really fast. A startup is definitely the place to be. Like when you work at somewhere like Google or Facebook, or even like, like companies that are smaller than that, but are still like pretty big. You're basically working on like one very specific thing. And so that's one very specific project, but also like, say I'm a designer, right? Instead of working like, I'm doing the UX design, I'm doing the visuals, I'm doing the product marketing, I'm doing the branding. Like if you work at like somewhere like Google, you're basically working on like one very small subset of the things. And I guess, yeah, like actually a side note too, like I interviewed this guy yesterday for Pipe for like a product designer role. So he was like a very like senior like product design manager at Google. And he was like walking me through his projects, and it was just like very like, it's just like, he was, well, the way he's talking about was like, yeah, I spent a year basically getting this like thing done, and it was like very small, and like obviously like it generated like billions of dollars in revenue because it's Google and like they operate at scale. But yeah, it was just like the way he's talking about it was like, oh, I had to get approval from this manager who got approval from this manager, and then I had to like wait for these people, and it's just like such like a slow like way to work. So yeah, I definitely prefer the startup where you're kind of just like grinding all the time. Yeah, trying to get things done really fast. Yeah, and yeah, I'll see about our responsibility too. Yeah, like I guess that's another thing too. Like if you want to actually like be more senior, right? Like normally you work like on this like corporate ladder, right? Like in tech companies they have like this like kind of like this level system. So like you come in as like, you know, I'm a level 3 engineer at Google or something, and then you move up to level 4, you move up to level 5. You know, if you just work on a startup, right, whether that's like when you start yourself or just like a very high growth one where you're an early member, and so therefore you're a senior member right away, you just like move up a lot faster. So yeah, I'm very pro startup. And yeah, someone just said like, do you see yourself staying startup? Yeah, I would never work for a larger company because one, I think it's boring, but also like if you can choose the right companies to work at or choose the right companies to start, then you can also make a lot more money. And I guess sign up from that too is like if any of you guys are like, you know, thinking about like where you want to work, and you know you aren't really tied to a specific industry, I would definitely say look at fintech and also look at crypto because they're definitely the most like lucrative industries right now, in my opinion. But yeah, I would say definitely crypto. Like I think it's still very early in crypto, and there's like very little talent that's currently in there, but people are just kind of like throwing money around. So yeah, I'd say like definitely, you know, that's something to check out. Crypto, it's a good place to be. Do I want to found? Yeah, and so I consider a lot of these projects I'm working on as like also companies I'm starting in a way. Um, yeah, like I think, you know, starting a company is actually better in my opinion because you get a lot more payoff. Like yeah, like I could go a lot more into like the nuances of this, but you know, like when you work as an employee at a startup, even if you're like very early, you get like a pretty small percentage compared to like the founders, which like in my opinion is like is how it should be, right? Like that's capitalism. Like they're taking on more risk reputationally, or financially than you are. So obviously they have a bigger payoff. But yeah, I would definitely say like, you know, probably in the future, I would just like start my own thing. Um, yeah, but I think a lot of the side projects too, where like, you know, I'm launching a token or something is also kind of like starting a company on the side. And yeah, definitely, I guess like after Pipe, after I leave Pipe eventually, I don't think I'd probably work for another startup again. I'd probably just try to do my own thing. But I think like, you know, when you're kind of like starting out, it's definitely something to consider because you can learn a lot, that maybe like I think in some ways it can prepare you, but I would also say that like it's definitely not a prerequisite. Like I think, you know, there's a lot of examples of people who just like jump right into like starting a company and like don't work anywhere before then. So yeah, I'd say like there's benefits of both. Most interesting experience at Pipe. I think what's interesting is just how fast we grew. Like basically when I came in at first, like a lot of the reason why I joined was like I talked to like the people who were already there, and you know all of them were really smart, and all of them like were really ambitious, and so I was like, man, this thing's gonna like do really well. But yeah, I think like what we accomplished in the past like 8 months has been kind of ridiculous compared to like what I originally thought. And I think a lot of that's too is because of like the market. So like if you guys like I don't know follow like stock market or crypto market or something like that, like things are just like pumping really hard right now. Like the market is like very frothy, very good to be, especially in like fintech, for example, where all the valuations are kind of going crazy. And so that definitely played a part, but also I do think that, you know, we're building a really good product, and yeah, it's cool that like the market, I guess, caught up to what we're doing so fast. Yeah, it's really exciting. I guess, yeah, so I can talk more about Pipe too, like as a startup, because I think we're pretty like unique. Um, yeah, so like with Pipe, we are a fully distributed team. So, you know, so actually when I started the company, or when I started working at the company, I actually moved to LA for a bit because that's where most of the team was at the time. But I guess slowly kind of decided like, okay, we're gonna be a remote first company. So I moved back to Texas actually. And yeah, it's like pretty fun. Like basically, I guess like before, so like earlier, kind of pre like the COVID stuff, we were doing offsites a lot. So like every month we would like basically rent an Airbnb like mansion type thing in like some place. So like Arizona, for example, or like this place called SMU in California. We just basically rent a mansion for like a week, and like people just come there and like hack, which is pretty fun. Yeah, we haven't done that lately because of COVID, but yeah, I guess like things like that are like some things that, you know, only really happen at startup. And that's what I guess makes it a lot of fun. As someone who works in a business company, what overlaps are there with other fields? I guess in terms of, so by fields, like, what do you mean? Like, do you mean like industries or like other I don't know, other like roles, like engineering or design or something? Um, let's see. I mean, yeah, so I'm not sure this is exactly your question, but yeah, another cool thing about startup, right, is like you do work across multiple roles. So like even if you're a software engineer, but you're early at a startup, you also end up doing a lot of like product management work or design work or marketing work. Um, yeah, so that's also very fun, just like learning a lot. Because I think too, like, if your goal is one day you also want to like start your own company, then having that like base where like you work on a lot of different things is really useful. Like I think that kind of like breadth. So I guess there's like two ways to think about like how you like refine your skills, right? Like one is depth, where like okay, I focus on being like the best engineer, and the other one's like breadth, whereas like I focus on being like a good engineer, plus I'm also a good designer, plus I'm a good like product manager or something. Yeah, there's like I guess like two different ways to kind of I guess like define yourself. Like I definitely feel like for myself, I'm more on like the breadth side, where I try to like do a bit of everything. But I think there's like merits to both styles, both paths.
Wait, I think when we last, or when we hosted you guys, when we hosted you last, were you in like some mountain type place?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, so that was actually one of our offsites. Yeah, we were in Escondido, California.
Oh, okay, that's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. That was an offsite. Yeah, we were in the mountains, but yeah, that was really fun. I want to do that again actually, but yeah, just there's a lot of like COVID related reasons why we're not doing it. Plus, a lot of like our team is like based in like places outside the U.S., especially in Europe. So it's been like kind of like hard to coordinate something like that now. But yeah, those are really fun.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, you guys just like, or all your company just goes and works there, or I mean,
Yeah. It was most of the company. Yeah, most of the company was just there hanging out in the mountains. And yeah,
Yeah.
we just brought our laptops and we were just hacking on something for the week.
Hey, that's nice. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you guys are thinking about working somewhere other than tech, I'd say don't do it because tech is just so fun. And yeah, it's like there's also a lot of money here too. But yeah, I'd say like it's a really fun place that you can't really get from other jobs. So definitely recommend working in tech. Yeah, out of curiosity, are any of you guys like into crypto or into like finance in general?
I'm kind of into finance, but not really crypto, I guess.
Nice. What about a finance are you interested in?
I'm just starting to get interested in it. Just still don't really know too much about it yet, but I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Gotcha.
Kind of just looking around and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. I definitely would recommend looking into crypto because I think like something with normal finance is it moves really slowly because of all the regulations. And especially in the United States, like if like it's like, oh, why can't I get like, I don't know, why can't I trade like crypto on like a bunch of leverage in the US? It's because like there's all the regulations and it makes it like really hard to like innovate on new like financial products or applications. So definitely recommend like looking into crypto first if you're interested in finance, because yeah, like basically people are just like making these like new financial products like in in a day or in a week that are like completely like different and only possible because of like the technology that backs them. So yeah, I could talk about crypto for forever if anyone here is interested in it. But
Wait,
yeah, definitely would recommend checking it out.
what would be like a good way to start into it? Because like I feel like I know I have like a decent bit of like programming experience, right? But like,
Yeah,
what are like some good tutorials, I guess?
yeah, for sure. So okay, I definitely recommend just reading like a lot of white papers. So I start with the Bitcoin white paper because that's just like that's the OG. That's like the fundamental, like how does blockchain work. And then you also read like the Ethereum white paper because that was like the next thing of like basically how you build things on top of it. And so I feel like after you fundamentally understand both of those, then you can kind of like start, I guess, exploring down the rabbit hole Ethereum and some other like blockchains that are heavily based off Ethereum uses programming language called Solidity. And I actually don't know the best way to learn it other than just like, yeah, I don't know, like finding like examples of Solidity code and trying to just like hack together things. Yeah, I actually don't know if any like good tutorials, but that's one thing. And then other blockchains like use other languages too. So like for example, Solana, which is the blockchain. Yeah, Ethereum. Yeah. So the Ethereum uses this language called Solidity. But there's other blockchains that use like other programming languages. So for example, like the one I'm using called Solana, that one like all the smart contracts are done in Rust. So yeah, but I would say honestly the best way to get like involved in crypto is just reading white papers of all like the top projects and any projects you're interested in, and then honestly just trying to like hack something together that you want to build. And I think that's honestly how you like learn anything, like where that's like just like normal, like how do I don't know, build a React app or something. Like I think the best way is just to like actually just try to build one and just like Google when you're stuck. But yeah, white papers are like like research art. So So basically, anytime someone launches, taking a step back, all of crypto is based off of protocols. So think about like the internet, right? Or like www, right? The World Wide Web. Like this is basically a protocol that then people are able to like build websites off of. It's kind of the same thing in crypto, where you have like these like protocols like Ethereum, and then people start building on top of Ethereum. And they're all open source too, so like you can actually see like the code behind them and and like what actually is happening. And so basically anytime that a project launches, a new protocol, a new crypto project launches, they'll usually launch a white paper as well. That kind of just explains sort of like the technical details of like how this protocol actually works. So for example, like here's the Bitcoin one. And then here's the Ethereum one. Yeah, so these are good places to start for just kind of, I guess, learning how blockchain in general or crypto in general works, in terms of from a technical standpoint. So yeah, and like honestly, like most people who work in crypto, I feel like don't even know a lot of this stuff. But I think it's pretty important, just like fundamentally understand kind of how all this stuff works. And then from here, the other thing too, I'd say if you want to like actually get into crypto is just like put money into it. So yeah, if any of you guys are actually interested in getting into crypto, like I'll send you some crypto so you can get started. But like if you have actually money in this and like are actually trying to like chase yields, chase like how do I make more money, like over time like you'll just like learn about it. And yeah, I'll just say like in crypto right now, there's insanely like high returns. So like like the standard like stock market thing, right, is like, oh, I can make 8% a year, because 8% a year is the average of like the stock market, right? The S&P 500. In crypto, you can invest in individual tokens, right? So like I put a lot of money into Solana, for example, and like Solana is like appreciating, but there's even like ways you can like put money in, and it's like very low risk to no risk, and make like tons of money off it, tons of APY, grow it a year. So yeah, I feel like if like you just start getting into the crypto rabbit hole and start seeing like all these high returns, like you're just gonna actually want to learn more, because you're gonna want to learn how to make money off those too. Yeah, for sure. And also, yeah, feel free to like message me too if like you have questions or like want to get more involved in crypto stuff. Like I love like talking about that stuff. So it's a fun place to be. And if you want to hack on any projects, let me know too. I have a lot of projects I'm working on. Yeah, would love to hack on something if people are interested. I would say for crypto and like startup stuff, I'd say like you should actually start going on Twitter. Twitter is how I found a lot of like the jobs I've had, or just projects in general that I've worked on. Like I think people like in like the startup community are a lot more receptive to like Twitter. Like if anyone DMs me on Twitter, I'll answer them and talk to them. But if people are DMing me on LinkedIn, I'm not going to answer them because it's just a bad platform and it's filled with a bunch of like random people. So yeah, but I think if you're like going a more traditional business route, I do think LinkedIn is probably worth it. But yeah, Twitter definitely for startups and for crypto.
Yeah. That is funny note.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I definitely see like both sides of the spectrum, right? Because like the business side, I feel like most CEOs type like people, they try to connect like on LinkedIn, but like startups is more informal type things where
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, I mean, okay, like I guess I should preface this too. Like I have a very unconventional path, right? Like, you know, like I didn't go to school and stuff, so I probably have a different perspective than other people. I think the safer route is, you know, yeah, like go to school, get a good job, like, you know, work at Google and stuff, and like, you know, message people on LinkedIn with like a, yeah, saying, oh, I want to, you know, I want to learn more about what you're doing or something. That's definitely like the safer path, and I guess more traditional path. So yeah, that's also good advice too. Yeah. Side projects are definitely the way to go. Like I'll say as someone who like also like I'm hiring a lot for Pipe. Side projects are definitely like one of the main things that I look for, because if someone doesn't like care a lot about like tech or like building and stuff like outside of like, you know, their day job, yeah, like I just think they're not that passionate. And like people who actually work on side projects are also just a lot better usually, because they just spend a lot more time like actually thinking about code or thinking about design. So yeah, definitely recommend doing side projects. Like I guess it's like pretty controversial to say, because like a lot of people talk about like the work-life balance thing now, but I definitely think if you want to stand out, yeah, just work on tons of side projects. And yeah, you'll also just get a lot better at programming really fast by just working on tons of side projects versus like trying to work at a company where you're working on like something that's very very constrained or very simple.
Wait, are startups into like interns and stuff, or do they try to like steer away and like look for like full-time people now?
Yeah, so I'd say with Pipe, we actually did hire an intern, but the intern we hired was like extremely good already. So okay, so I guess moving back, when you're at a small startup, like you don't have time, I guess, to like do a lot of mentorship that is like normal when, you know, you intern like Google or something. And so that's a big reason why, like, you know, we don't want to hire like a very junior intern. But like, for example, the intern that came on with us, so he was like a current like college student, and he was just like, already really good because he just like spent all of his free time programming. And so yeah, we brought him on as an intern, and then like a month later hired him as full time, and like he like dropped out of school. Yeah, so I would say that's one thing to consider with startups, is that if they're like if they're small enough, then they might not want the extra work it takes to what's it called, to like mentor or to train someone who's like very junior. But like, yeah, like the bigger a company gets, then they have like more like scale, right? And then also thinking more about like, you know, sustainable hiring. And so then it makes more sense to bring on an intern later. But honestly, so like if you want to work at like a really good startup, like somewhere like Pipe, for example, I would say the best thing to do is just like work on really good side projects, and show that you're just extremely good. Like just be like an extremely good programmer. Yeah, but if you want to work at other places, then I think it's probably more lenient, because yeah, they have more bandwidth. So yeah, definitely I think you know, TAMS is like a really like unique time in life, because you know, you're living like basically with these people who are also going through this like same but very unique point in life, right? Like, you know, like when I went to college, even like when I was at UT, there definitely wasn't that like same kind of I don't know, same kind of like bond or like closeness with like everyone. Like, you know, like when you're in TAMS, when you like live in Macalinao, right? You just like know everyone. Even if like you haven't like talked to everyone for like, you at least like know them, which is like really cool. And so yeah, I'd say just like have a lot of fun, honestly, like at TAMS, because I think yeah, when you're later in life, yeah, I guess you just don't get that. You don't get that opportunity anymore. Like even in normal college. Though I would say that like I didn't spend that much time trying to like socialize in college, which maybe that's probably why I think that. But I do think TAMS is like really fun. Yeah, and I'd say like, yeah, I think just don't stress too much. Like I think TAMS gets really stressful, especially when like you're in McConnell Hall, because like everyone there is like obsessing over like, I don't know, college apps or something, or I don't know, getting like good grades and stuff, which is like all important, right? Like, I'm not saying like don't like try to do those things if that's like what you want to do, but I'd say like, yeah, you look at like the bigger picture of life, and yeah, it's like that stuff is like pretty like temporary. Like you know, it's like, you know, like I guess one thing is, you know, I really wanted to go to like an Ivy League school, right? Like, oh, I want to go to MIT, and like I didn't get in. But and I was like really like sad about it at first when while I was a senior at TAMS, but you know, like I feel like yeah, it kind of like worked out. So yeah, just try to avoid getting too stressed about high school.
So which year did you graduate from TAMs again?
I graduated in 2017. So I guess what, that's like 4 years ago? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, people in my class are, yeah, I guess I'd be a senior right now. So actually, the other thing is I kind of hacked my way into school because basically I'm still graduating actually. Yeah, so I transferred to Penn, which I mentioned earlier, and I'm actually taking all those classes online. So I'm gonna graduate this semester too, but it's pretty nice because I was still able to like work and stuff full time. So that was definitely a hack. Was definitely appreciative of online school, honestly, because I wouldn't have been able to do that if it was in person still.
Yeah, that works pretty well. Wait, do you still get a bachelor's degree in like?
Yeah, I'm getting a bachelor's degree. Yeah, graduating this semester.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
yeah, it's really nice actually.
That's super convenient.
It was definitely a hack. Yeah.
Prefer online or kind of like an in-person type of school format?
Yeah, so okay, very controversial, but I don't actually like believe in classes. I think most of them are kind of a waste of time, especially like classes where like STEM classes, because those are like non-discussion based. Like I could stick the argument for like I don't know, English classes, right, where like you have to like talk and like discuss with the rest of the class or something. But most STEM classes, it's like they just go through a PowerPoint or I don't know, yeah, go through a textbook or something. And like what's nice about like online school is, at least for me, like all the lectures have been pre-recorded, so I can just like go in, watch them at 2x speed, and just like like just do them, or like watch them while I'm actually doing the homework assignment or something. So it saves a lot of time. But yeah, I think it's mostly for STEM classes though. Like I think if you're doing like discussion-based classes, then in person is also nice. But then again, too, I'm also not someone who like was ever really that into like classes, into like that part of school. Yeah. So are all of you guys thinking about getting into like software engineering as like a full-time job, or are you guys still trying to like figure it out?
I feel like for me, it's at least like I'm kind of leaning towards it, but then I'm also like trying to think of like business type stuff.
Okay.
But most likely still like software related.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, okay, yeah, I would say definitely like focus really hard on the technical skill, because I think like business itself, in my opinion, is like easy to learn. Like it's easy to learn about like finance or those kind of stuff, but I think like what really differentiates you is like being really good at like a hard technical skill, like software engineering, for example. Like I think the people who get paid the most money are like software engineering people that understand like business and like specifically finance really well. So, and I would say like if you're choosing between like two majors, definitely like, yeah, software engineering, like computer science is better for that reason. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do something like computer science related in like college and stuff, but like I'm just like thinking about like entrepreneurship ideas after that using
Gotcha.
skills.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I think. Okay, so yeah, if you want to make a lot of money, like, yeah, you should be really good at like 2 different domains. So like computer science and finance, I think is like, yeah, probably the best like 2 domains to be really good at. And yeah, I think it's easier for someone with a computer science background to get into like a that kind of role versus someone with a finance background only, and just kind of like learn computer science on the side. So yeah, I definitely think that's like a smart choice. Yeah. But yeah. So what do you say?
I don't know about the others. Do you guys have any other ideas?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in TAMS, like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I thought, like there was at one point I thought I wanted to like get a PhD and be a researcher. There was like one point where like I was like, oh, I want to like, I don't know, do consulting. I want to work at McKinsey. I want to work at Google. Yeah, like I feel like it's like really early when you're at TAMS. It's like hard to like, it's hard to figure out what you want to do, unless like you actually do them. So like, yeah, definitely I'd say like try to prioritize like the internships and stuff. Or like just like working on things on the side, because that'll help you a lot in terms of determining. And yeah, I think when you get to actual college, it's easier to do that because you can like do research with like, or I guess you can do research at TAMS too, but in a different way. Like it's a lot easier to just like go out and do stuff. I feel like when you're in college and try more things out.
Wait, did you do internships or were you always in like startup full-time thing?
I did. Yeah, so there was that one internship I did at this company called AmerisourceBergen, which is like a big company, and there I was doing like I don't even know what I was doing. They kind of just like told me to do random stuff, and I just did them, like very random like business type stuff. It was really boring. Wouldn't recommend like interning at a company like that. I guess yeah, a lot of the experience I had was just like working on projects. I guess yeah, it was mostly startup stuff. Like actually never had the experience of working at like a very big company before.
Right.
Yeah, like I did like a lot of contract work when I was at TAMs, and also when I was at UT Austin. Yeah, so I guess that kind of helped me a bit.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think. Wait.
Yeah, so yeah, advice for TAM students in general. Yeah, I think I kind of went over this a little bit, but yeah, one is just have fun and not be stressed. The other thing is if you want to really stand out, oh yeah, go to class. Yeah, go to every class. Yeah, take good notes. Do really well on your assignments. Yeah. What else? Let me think. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, if you want to stand out, I'd say like you should definitely try to do things outside of classes and outside that what normal people are doing. If you really want to, I guess, like have like a very like different kind of like, if you want to, I guess, accelerate your career. Because if you think about it, right, if you follow what everyone else is doing, where it's like, oh, I do research, I do this, yeah, then you're just gonna be like, everyone else, which is like not bad, right? Because everyone else is like successful too. But I'd say like if you want to like really like if you're really into startups, for example, and you want to like I guess like accelerate your life growth, then try to think about things that are maybe outside of what normal people are doing. So like I wish I got started on that kind of stuff sooner. Like I started like getting really into like tech or getting really into startups sooner, because definitely I feel like when I was at TAMS I already had I guess like the aptitude to work on these things, but I just like didn't kind of have the motivation or even the knowledge that like, oh, this is like something that you can do. Like I thought that oh, I have to like go to college, get my bachelor's degree, and then I can get like a good paying job, or oh, I have to work at like a this legit company first, and then I can start my own company, stuff like that. Where like those are like kind of like the traditional things that people like say, and which is like true in some sense, right? Because the majority of people go through those kind of paths, but you can definitely like kind of hack the path, or like skip a lot of the path, if you want to do other things. Yeah, that's a very vague and kind of rambling answer, but I don't know. Like, I guess if any of you guys have like very specific things, like, oh, I really want to work at a startup, or I really want to, I don't know, make a lot of money, I can tell you how to do that. Yeah, if you want to make a lot of money, I'd say just get into crypto right now. That's the way you make a lot of money.
Wait, like stock type stuff, or?
No, not stocks. Stocks make you no money. Stocks are bad. Stocks are slow, right? Stocks, you get happy when your stock makes you 20% a year. In crypto, you get happy when your token makes you 1,000% a year. So get into crypto. Yeah, I'd say like one part of it's trading, and the other part is just creating value by launching your own project, launching your own crypto project, and like having a token that makes a lot of money. Or I guess kind of what I'm doing now too is like both, where it's like I have like these tokens I'm launching, but also I'm building on another blockchain which has its own token, and so it's like for example, like say I'm building like a project on top of Ethereum that boosts the number of people that like use Ethereum, then that's actually going to grow the Ethereum price as well. And then also like, if my project also has its own token, then I can boost that project's token. So there's a lot more ways, I guess, to like leverage the amount of money you can make versus if you're working on like a normal company that has just like normal stock or something, like normal equity. Yeah, crypto is a crazy place. It's a crazy time. There's just a lot of money in it right now.